All right, so you've got your JavaScript skills down. What if I told you we could take all that knowledge and break it completely out of the browser? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're diving into Node.js, the technology that lets you build servers, powerful command line tools, and full-stack applications, all with the language you already know. Let's jump in.
Here's our game plan. We'll start by connecting Node.js to what you already know about JavaScript. Then we'll nail down exactly what it is and talk about its secret weapon, the non-blocking model. After that, we'll get a little context, run our very first program, and then we'll peek at what's coming up next on the roadmap.
Okay, first things first. Let's connect the dots. If you've got a solid handle on JavaScript, you're about to see how that very same language gets a major power-up.
And seriously, congratulations. This is a huge deal. You're not learning a new language from scratch. You're just learning a brand new playground for the language you already master. Every JavaScript skill you have is going to apply here.
Think of it like this. Up until now, your JavaScript has lived inside the browser. It's been great for making web pages interactive, but it's been in a cage. Well, Node.js is the key that unlocks that cage. It lets your code run on servers, build APIs, and talk directly to databases. And that right there is the big idea. This is the moment. We are fundamentally changing where our code runs, and that opens up an entirely new universe of things we can build.
Okay, so we keep saying that JavaScript is breaking out. But what is this thing that's actually doing the breaking? Let's get a really clear definition of Node.js.
The key phrase to latch onto here is runtime environment. It's just the place where your code runs. The browser is one runtime environment, Node.js is another. It's the software that takes your JavaScript and lets the computer's operating system understand and execute it directly.
And here's the really clever part. Node.js didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Its creator, Ryan Dahl, took the incredibly fast V8 engine, the same one inside Google Chrome, and just built a new layer around it, a layer that gave it new powers, like accessing the file system and the network, all the stuff the browser is normally locked away from. This right here shows you the fundamental difference. For your own security, JavaScript in the browser lives in a sandbox. It can't just start rummaging through files on your computer. But Node.js, it kicks down the sandbox walls. It gives your code the permission to read and write files, manage network connections, and talk to the operating system, just like other backend languages like Python or Java.
Now, Node.js isn't just cool because it runs JavaScript on a server. Its real claim to fame, its secret weapon, the thing that makes it so ridiculously fast and scalable, is its unique architecture.
See, in a lot of traditional servers, if a user makes a request that needs to fetch data from a database, the worker process is, it's blocked. It literally just sits there and waits. It can't do anything else until that database gets back to it. Now, imagine thousands of users doing that at once. You run out of workers fast, and the whole system just grinds to a halt.
Node.js completely flips this on its head. It uses a single main thread and something called an event loop. So when a slow task like a database query comes in, Node says, "Okay, system, you handle this," and it immediately moves on to the very next request. It doesn't wait around. Then when that slow task is finally done, the system taps Node on the shoulder, and the event loop runs a callback function to finish up that original request.
This is the absolute best way to think about it. That waiter is the Node.js thread. Instead of being blocked and just staring at the kitchen door, they stay busy efficiently serving tons of other tables. This non-blocking, asynchronous style means a single Node.js process can handle thousands of simultaneous connections with crazy efficiency. And because of this super efficient architecture, you get all these amazing benefits. Node apps are super lightweight and can scale up to handle huge amounts of traffic. It's why we have NPM, the biggest open source library ecosystem in the world. You get to use one language, JavaScript, for everything, which is a game changer. And it's perfect for things like chat apps or live streaming services that need to handle tons of real-time data.
So we know what Node is and why its architecture is so special. Now let's zoom out for a second, get a little context with a quick look at its history, and do a direct comparison to the browser JavaScript we're all used to.
So Node.js was first created way back in 2009. Just a year later, NPM came along, which was absolutely critical to its success. Like any big open source project, it had some growing pains. There was even a temporary split called IO.js because of disagreements over how the project was run.
But they started it out in 2015, came back together under a neutral foundation, which was a huge sign of its maturity. And today, it's a stable, world-class project managed by the OpenJS Foundation.
This table just lays it all out crystal clear. The runtime environment is totally different. A browser versus a server. The kind of access they have is different. The browser can touch the web page's DOM, while Node can touch the computer's file system. That, of course, defines their purpose, client-side versus server-side. Even the main global object changes from window to global. And historically, their module systems were different, though that's starting to become more unified now.
Okay, enough theory. I think it's time we actually see this thing in action. Let's run a piece of Node.js code. Honestly, how simple this is might surprise you.
This is a really big mental shift if you're coming from the front-end world. You don't need to create an HTML file. You don't need to open up Chrome. All you need is a plain text file ending in .js and your computer's terminal.
And there it is, the whole program. A single file, we'll call it app.js, with one single line of JavaScript that you already know and love, console.log.
To make it run, you just open your terminal, go to the folder where you save that file, and you type node app.js. Hit enter, and boom! That's it. Node.js executes your JavaScript and prints the message right there in your terminal. No browser, no HTML, just pure code execution. It's that simple.
And just like that, you've done it. You've taken your very first step into a larger world. You've seen how JavaScript can break free from the browser, and you've run it as a standalone program.
So, that was pretty easy, right? The natural question is, where do we go from here? How do we build on this simple console.log to create real, powerful applications? Well, the answer lies in understanding modules. In our very next explainer, we're going to dive into the absolute building blocks of every Node application. We'll explore how to organize our code into reusable pieces, looking at both the classic common JS system and the modern ES modules. This is the foundation for building anything complex, so I'll see you there.